Okay, this is an instructional video on how to wire up a Leviton plug, whether it be 60 amp or 100 amp. And here we go. What the tools you're going to need are a utility knife, flathead screwdriver, or standard, whatever you want to call it, and a Phillips. Alright, so this is your cord, and this is your plug right here. So first thing you're going to do is take apart the plug, but it obviously is already taken apart. I like to use a handheld power drill, makes it quicker. Am I in the... okay. Pay attention to how you take it apart because you're going to do it in reverse order, and if you miss a step, you're going to be really bumming. Okay, you're going to dig that rubber grommet out with the screwdriver. Bam. Okay, this thing, turn it 90 degrees and it pops out, usually, or yeah, there you go. Take that off. And then just go ahead and set all these parts aside. You're going to strip back your cord. You're going to use the utility knife, but you don't want to go too deep because you don't want to cut the wires inside the jacket. You just want to get to the jacket. So with a 60 amp cord, you're gonna strip back about 2.5 to 3 inches and expose the 4 wires. So how I do it is I go around fairly lightly, just kind of give it a little etch around, and then I'll fold it a little bit, and then I'll just kind of skim across real light until it starts to open up. Once you start to see the wires, you don't want to cut any deeper. See that little nick? Can you get to that? Can you see that? So I'm starting to expose a little bit of wire. There is a protective shield, but you can easily cut through that. That's underneath the insulation itself. So once you get to here, you've removed it all the way around. Since type W it grabs quite a bit, you're going to have to cut down line. And same thing, don't go too deep. And you'll feel the blade if you're too deep because the protective cover it's kind of knitted, so you'll feel it kind of be rough. So you don't want to go too far. So once you get it open and started, just kind of do the same thing, spread it open and kind of work the blade back a little bit. Okay, once you remove that, there's your little protective cover. You're actually going to cut that off also. Another good tool to maybe have is a pair of side cutters. It's easy to cut this thing off with side cutters. Then you're going to take these little cloth separators and go ahead and hack those off. Should be 5 of them, 4 around each, and then 1 smack dab in the middle, but this one has 2. Pull it off to the side, give it a snip. Okay, so this is prep, aside from exposing the leads. And how you do that, you do it the same way you cut the insulation off. But this one, you can get a little bit rougher because you're not going to really cut through the wire unless you push really hard. So I go about 3/4 of the way around, and then you can pull it right off. You want to give yourself at least 1 inch to 1.5 inches. There you go. So from there, let's just imagine this cord is hooked up to a heater or to a pump, so there's really no way of accessing this side. So what you got to do is you got to slide all the components on in reverse order. So this thing came off first, that thing's going to go on, and then you're going to have your rubber grommet. Now your rubber grommet, you can take rings out to make it larger, the hole larger, which you're going to have to do with this stuff. So you take 1 ring out from the inside, use your screwdriver, kind of dig in there and just punch it through. Grab it, pull it out. Then you're going to slide this guy on. You want it fairly tight, but a good thing to use also is like silicone spray or Vaseline to grease this up a little so it slides on a little easier. So you got this thing slid down. Give yourself enough room. Then you're going to put the body on. 4 bolts going towards the end of the leads. Just like that. And then from there, you can go ahead and open up your ports with your flat screwdriver. Okay, so now you got them open up. You're going to look at it, and you're going to see that one's going to have a ground symbol, and then you're going to have L1, L2, and L3. So you just got to make sure that you know where each one is. Ground is going to get the green. It's usually what I start with. I'll just land the green first off. So you want to make sure that all the wires get into the hole. Nothing's hanging out, nothing's sticking out. Nothing weird like that. Okay, and you don't want a ton hanging out like that. You want to get it in there, but you don't want to smash the insulation. So it's kind of coned in there, so you can actually get it down to about there, and it'll be alright. Just as long as nothing too big is exposed. So you tighten it down, then you give it a wiggle, then you tighten it again. Because when you wiggle it, it gets a little bit more loose every time. Okay, so L1 is going to be your black, L2 is going to be your red, and L3 is going to be white. So I'll start with L1, and I'll feed black into L1. Same deal, you don't want too much exposed. Give it a wiggle, then hit it again. Okay, red to L2. And a lot of times it's easy just to feed both of them in at the same time. The red, the last two remaining, the red and the white. Again, make sure that there's nothing sticking out. Like that right there, unacceptable. You got to pull that back out and just twist it, make it nice and fine, and then stick it back in without anything sticking out. So right there. Give her a wiggle, tighten her again. Okay, on to the last one, the white. Wiggle and tighten. Okay, so now you got it wired in. Take this guy, loosen her up, open up the strain release. So it opens like that. And you're going to find the two oval holes where these guys attach. You're going to slide it in. Make sure it's in on both sides. Swing it up onto the insulation. If you stripped it back too far, you can force it down a little bit, but you don't want to do it too far. You want to get the insulation. So if it's too long, you can either unwire it, cut it, and strip it back closer. Or if it's not that much longer like mine, it's kind of close, you can kind of give it a little twist and then get it in there. See, it's going to bite it anyways. Go down even on either side until you got a good smash on it like that. Okay, so then the cover goes on and there's a keyed tooth right there. And if you look on the female side, you'll see it right there. It just has to line up. It can't go on any other way. Once you get that there, tighten her down. Don't over tighten because it is plastic, but get her snug. Okay, you got to this point, you're going to slide the rubber grommet back down into the hole. And then the final piece goes on. Well, second to last piece, actually. This piece you tighten like a flange, do a star pattern, opposite sides. Then do the other side. Okay, so now your final piece. This little tang here locks in on this groove. Both pieces have the same deal. They got the tang that locks into the groove.